So what we're going to do today is, like I said, it's an example of what we did yesterday. It's called close and critical reading. All right. So much like yesterday, you're going to be reading something, but beforehand we're going to do a little bit different. Okay? We're going to watch a 7 to 8 minute video. Now, this video, about a week ago, I watched TED TV. TED TV is a lot like YouTube. It's just a bunch of videos of people talking on a stage. But usually the videos tend to be like positive. They talk about like happiness, or, you know, it's just people pay to go to these events to watch these people speak. And they have a conference on how to be positive in the world and stuff like that. So I'm always looking on there for things that interest me, and just like you guys would do on YouTube. So what I was doing last week was I was just kind of playing around, looking around. I saw this video. I'm like, wow, it looks really interesting. I wonder what it's about. And so I decided to watch it. And after I watched it, I thought, you know what? This might be very interesting to my students. However, I'm like, I wonder if I can somehow fit it into my class, you know, for world history, because it doesn't really go along with world history. However, the reason I wanted to use it is because it's thought-provoking. What will happen, and you'll see this in the video, this guy named Lemon Anderson. He's like a lyrical artist. What he does is he performs on stages and he'll read poems, but he's very animated when he does it. And so the first thing that he's going to do is he's going to read this poem, and he's going to kind of act it out. And then after he's done with the poem is what we're going to focus on today. After he's done with the poem, he's going to talk a little bit about his story. And so I want you to remember what's in his story, because I'm not going to be able to give you the words for his story, but you're going to have to remember it later for part of the activity. Okay? So, also I want to say as well, I don't necessarily promote what is being said in the video. The reason I like it is because it questions society's values. Okay, and that's what we do in social studies. We talk about what we do as a human people. Okay? So, in no way, shape, or form do I want to hear this as cool or awesome. When you hear the poem, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I don't promote necessarily what he's saying. It's a story that we're going to use to create a conversation. You're going to watch a video that's about 9 minutes long. It is read by Lemon Anderson on TED Talks. To me, this is a controversial video that makes not only me, but many others question what we value in life, if life at all. As you are watching the video, think about the values that you come to this class with and what is truly important to yourself. After Lemon acts out the poem, he will then talk about his own life. I do not have a transcript for that part, so you are going to have to try to remember the information he presents, because there will be questions on that part as well. So the part after the poem, he talks about his life, but he does it in a very lyrical way. He'll be talking about himself, kind of being from the city, and this guy in Hollywood, how their lives actually were different, but how they come together. So pay attention to that as well. So it's about 8 minutes long. All you have to do right now is watch the video. After the video is done, I'm going to pass out the poem, and then we will go from there. Any questions? Excellent. Okay.
My Air Jordans cost $100 with tax. My suede starter's jacket says Raiders on the back. I'm styling, smiling, looking real mean, cause it ain't about being heard, just being seen. My leather Adidas baseball cap matches my fake Gucci backpack. Ain't nobody looks as good as me, but this costs money, it sure ain't free. And I got no job, no money at all, but it's easy to steal all this from the mall. Parents say I shouldn't, but I knows I should. Got to do what I can to make sure I look good. And the reason I have to look real good, well, to tell you the truth, man, I don't know why. Guess it makes me feel special inside. When I'm wearing fresh gear, I don't have to hide. And I really must get some new gear soon, or my ego will pop like a 10-cent balloon. But security's tight at all the shops. Every day there are more and more cops. My crew is laughing at me because I'm wearing old gear. School's almost over, summer's near, and I'm sporting torn Jordans. Need something new. Only one thing left to do. Cut school Friday, catch the subway downtown. Check out my victims hanging around. Maybe I'll get lucky and find easy prey. Gotta get some new gear, there's no other way. I'm ready and willing, I'm packing my gun. This is serious business, this ain't no fun. And I can't have my posse laughing at me. I'm a cop, son, dope, just wait. You see, come out of the station, Westport near the park. Brothers shooting hoops and someone remarks, "Hey Holmes, where you get the knives?" I said to myself, yeah, I like some, I likes. They were Q-tip, white, bright, and blind in my eyes. The red emblem of Michael looked as if it could fly. Not one spot of dirt, the arrows were brand new. Had my pistol, knew just what to do. Waited until it was just the right time. Followed him very closely behind. He made a left turn on house, and I pulled out my gun, and I said, "Give me them Jordans." And the punk tried to run. Took off fast, didn't get far, I fired, pow! Fool fell between two parked cars. He was coughing, crying, blood spilled on the street. And I snatched the man Jordans off of his feet. While laying there dying, all he could say was, "Please, man, don't take my Air Jordans away." You'd think he'd be worried about staying alive. As I took off with his sneakers, there was tears in his eyes. Very next day, I bopped into school with my brand new Air Jordans, man, I was cool. I killed to get them, but hey, I don't care. Because now I need a new jacket to wear. Thanks.
That's the end of the poem, and now he's going to kind of talk about himself a little bit.
The last 15 years that I have been performing, all I ever wanted to do was transcend poetry to the world. See, it wasn't enough for me to write a book. It wasn't enough for me to join a slam competition. And while those things hold weight, it wasn't the driving force that pushes the pen to the pad. The hunger and thirst was, and still remains, how do I get people who hate poetry to love me? Because I'm an extension of my work. And if they love me, then they will love my work. And if they love my work, then they will love poetry. And if they love poetry, then I would have done my job, which is to transcend it to the world. And in 1996, I found the answer in principles in a master spoken word artist named Reggie Gaines, who wrote the famous poem, "Please Don't Take My Air Jordans." And I followed this guy everywhere until I had him in the room, and I read him one of my pieces, and you know what he told me? "You're whack." You know what the problem is with you, homie? You don't read other people's poetry. And you don't got any subordination for verbal measures to tonal consideration. Now, he kept on rambling about poetry and styles and New Eurekan Friday nights. Now, I could have quit. I should have quit. I mean, I thought poetry was just self-expression. I didn't know you actually have to have creative control. So instead of quitting, I followed him everywhere. When he was writing a Broadway show, I would be outside of the door. I would wake him up in like 6:30 in the morning to ask him who was the best poet. I remember eating the eyes of a fish right out to sea because he told me it was brain food. Then one day, I told him, "Reggie, what is subordination for verbal measures to tonal consideration?" And he handed me a black and white printed out thesis on a poet named Etheridge Knight and the oral nature of poetry. And from that point, Reggie stopped becoming the best to me. Because what Etheridge Knight taught me was that I could make my words sound like music. Even my small ones. The monosyllables, the ifs, ands, buts, whats, the gangster in my slang could fall right on the ear. And from that on, I started chasing Etheridge Knight. I wanted to know which poet he read, and I landed on a poem called "Shine the Stoker," a toast signifying that got me on the biggest stage a poet could ever be. Broadway, baby. And from that point, I learned how to pull the mic away and attack the poetry with my body. But that wasn't the biggest lesson I ever learned. The biggest lesson I learned was many years later when I went to Beverly Hills and I ran into a talent agent who looked at me up and down and said, I don't look like I have any experience to be working in this.
Now listen, as he's telling the story, he's gonna start throwing in information about like poets, people that are famous and stuff like that. You might have heard some of these people, but some of them you might not have.
Business.
But he works them into
And I
his
said
story.
to him, listen, punk fool, you're a failed actor who became an agent. And you know why you failed as an actor? Because people like me took your job. I traveled all the way from Cleveland and Essex in East New York, took the local 6 line up to the hookers of Hunts Point who were in my way, on my way to master the art of space. And the one to infinite amount of man, woman, and child you can fit it in, only so I could push them to the back of the wall with my experience. People have bought tickets to my experience and used them as refrigerator magnets to let them know that the revolution is near, so stock up. I'm so experienced that when you went to a privileged school to learn a Shakespearean sonnet, I was getting those beats kicked and shoved into me. I can match the shock of the crying game with the awe of a child being called an AIDS victim by a bully who didn't know that it was his father who gave it to my mother. And that's a double entendre. I'm so experienced that when you went to the Fell School and all the rich little fairy boys decided to sponsor a child, and that was me, but kicked me out when I was taught teaching the fairy boys how to rob the patch off a pair of Lee jeans and bring them to VIM. Let me see Chekhov pull that off. Sanford Meisner was my Uncle Artie yelling solidly to himself, something's always wrong when nothing's always right. Method acting is nothing but a mixture of multiple personalities, believing your own lives are reality. Like in high school, Cool Kenny telling me he wanted to be a cop. Dude, you go to Rikers Island Academy. I can make David Mamet psychoanalyze my attack on dialogue. Stanislavski be as if he were Bruce Lee, kicking your roster of talentless students up and down Crenshaw. So what, your actors study guerrilla theater at the London Rep? Let me tell you an ancient Chinese Saturday afternoon kung fu secret. Boards don't hit back. You think black entertainers have it hard finding work in this business? I'm a suspicious mulatto, which means I'm too black to be white and too white to be doing it right. Forget the American ghetto. I've cracked stages in Soweto, buried abortion babies in Potter's Field, and still managed to keep a smile on my face. So whatever you curse at me, to your Caddyshack, go for this, go for that assistant when I walk out that door. Whatever slander you send my way, your mother.
All right. Was that good? All right, well, what we're gonna do is analyze the poem now. We're gonna use close and critical reading to do that, okay? So, let me pass that out. Once everybody gets a packet, I would like you to go to the area where the poem is. It'll say archive on the top, Reg E. Gaines. So we're not going to finish this today. We're going to have to do part of this on tomorrow. So, okay, go to the poem. It should be on, if you flip one page, it should be on the next page. It'll say this is an archive page, and then you'll see the paragraphs are numbered, similar to the ones that we did with the guillotine example yesterday. Okay. Now, unlike yesterday, not all of my questions are going to read in paragraph so-and-so, find and highlight. Some of them will be like that. Others will be questions that I'm going to be asking you about the reading itself. I might ask you to read an entire paragraph and say, what does that mean? And write it to the right. Okay? Is everybody ready? Everybody has the page where it says archive? Okay. So guys, we're gonna have to stay on task here because these go right in order, and you have to stay up with me, okay? In paragraph number 1, find and highlight what kind of coat the man was wearing. What kind of coat was the man wearing? Does anybody need extra time? Also, in paragraph number 1, find and highlight what's more important, being heard or being seen? Being heard or being seen? In paragraph number 2, what's fake? What's fake? Everybody got that? Excellent. All right, in paragraph number 3, find and highlight, how does he obtain his clothes? How does he obtain his clothes? Is all good? Okay, in paragraph number 4, what reason does he give as to why he looks good? Or he wants to look good, excuse me. What reason does he give as to why he wants to look good? That one's a little strange, okay? So, can anybody help me on that one? What's the answer to that one? Makes him feel special. I actually have, he doesn't know why. Okay, so if you read exactly what I asked you, he says he doesn't know why. Okay, but if you put makes him feel special, that's also, you know, an answer as well. Thank you. Okay, in paragraph number 5, what does he think? No, I'm sorry. What do you think he means by the phrase, "My ego will pop"? So I want you to write the answer to the right of the paragraph. What do you think he means by the phrase, "My ego will pop"? Put your answer to the right of the paragraph. Everybody get on that one? Excellent. Okay. This one's kind of weird and funny, so bear with me. In paragraph number 6, what real word does the word cuz stand for? C-U-Z. Write your answer above the word. You want to underline cuz first? Go ahead. What does the word cuz mean in that paragraph? Write it above the word. Okay, in paragraph number 7, this is a location inference. So you might not get this. I'll give you a hint though. Alright? So, what city, and if you listen to the video, he said this. What city is he hanging out in reference to the subway? Write the city to the right of the paragraph. So what city does Lemon Anderson is he from? Okay, and also the guy that ends up stealing the shoes. I'll give you a hint. 9/11. Twin Towers. Stock market. Statue of Liberty. Are those giving you some hints? All right. I'm looking for 2 words on that. All right. Okay. In paragraph number 8. Find and highlight the word posse. That's the first thing. Find and highlight the word posse. At the right, also write down what he is referring to with the word posse. So to the right, tell me what he means by the word posse. Everybody good on that one? Okay, number 9, you're gonna have to go to the top of the second page for paragraph 9. Okay? Okay, is everybody on the second page? Okay, paragraph 9. What does he infer with the words deaf Nikes or deaf Nikes? So, in this particular one, we're looking at the word deaf. What does the word deaf mean? D-E-F. Read the paragraph and you'll kind of understand a little bit better. It's a term that we used to use in the 1990s. You guys might say dope. You might say something else like that. Okay? You can tell a lot about the time period by the words. So you can just write that on the right side. Does anybody else need more time on that? You guys good? Okay. In paragraph number 10, this one you're going to write to the right side as well. Who the emblem refers to on the shoes. I want to know the name of the person. Okay? Who the emblem refers to on the shoes. What is this person's name in real life? I'll give you a hint. His last name is Jordan. Now there's Michael Jackson, and then there's also MJ. Right? Anyway, you guys got that one? All right. In paragraph number 11, find and highlight what the man with the Jordans did when confronted with the man with the gun. Did you get that? Let me read it again. In paragraph number 11. Find and highlight what the man with the Jordans did when confronted with the man with the gun. So the guy that had the shoes on, what did he do? Does that make sense? Okay. So I think we got to read that earlier. Yeah, there is, but it's kind of hard to do right now. So I'll tell you what. Give me a second. There's a video that goes with this, but you just right now, read this poem and give me, do the summary. Just go through this poem, okay? Bring that tomorrow. All right, there's a couple more, you guys. In paragraph number 12, find and highlight where the man fell. Find and highlight where the man fell. In paragraph number 13, find and highlight what the man should have been worried about. Find and highlight what the man should have been worried about. Okay, now the last one is a two-part question, so listen to my directions on this one, okay? So in paragraph 14, you're going to have to read it first. After reading paragraph 14, does the man feel any remorse for what he did? And how do you know? Okay, who wants to define remorse for me? Yes?
Oh, wait.
Yes, go ahead.
Is it feeling you regret
Does he regret it? Well, what's regret mean? Does he feel bad about shooting or guilty about shooting the guy, right? Okay, so you're going to write down whether he feels any remorse and prove it by using the rest of the sentence. Does that make sense? So let me read it to you again. So after reading paragraph 1, does the man feel any remorse for what he did, and how do you know? Explain. Yeah, you're gonna write this one, yeah, I wasn't clear about that, so you can just write it on the side or below it, or whatever. When you are finished, 14, go to the front of the packet. Is everybody on the front? I don't want to rush it. You're still writing, continue writing, I'll wait. Okay, if you're done with the back, you can, like I said, you can keep going if you want. On the front, go to the bottom of the page, it'll say general questions. Okay, and like I said, we only got about halfway through this because tomorrow we're gonna have to actually, we're gonna do some group work and we're gonna talk about these questions. That's why these have to be done when you walk in tomorrow. So, the general questions are on the bottom, they're bulleted. There might not be enough area for you to write. Like if you like to write, you know, you might have to write a separate piece of paper. But these are the questions. Why do you think the man who was shot was more worried about his shoes than his life? These are opinions, by the way. Why do you think, and then second, what do you think Michael Jordan would say about this story and about what his product presents? What did this story make you think about? Is this fiction? Or is it closer to reality than we want to think? What other thoughts do you have about this story? What questions do you have of your own? And lastly, how can the story be used to teach a positive lesson? Okay, I would like you to work on that for the next several minutes. And then we will continue with this tomorrow and we'll finish. Okay, thanks for your time today, guys. Go ahead and do that right now, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those for you. That's good.